Hi, Chancellor. Thank you for coming to Albany. First, let me say I'm very pleased to hear about the career and technical education programs that you're looking to expand. I'm even happier to hear that you're looking to bring some to Brooklyn and Staten Island. And however I can work with you to make that happen, I'd be glad to, because it's something that I truly believe in. We need to invest in vocational training, and these are great careers that people who may not be fit for college, may not want to attend college, have an option to get a great career in their life based on some of these vocational programs. So thank you again for thinking of Staten Island and Brooklyn for those programs. I have just a few short questions. One is regarding the Contracts for Excellence funding. The 2016-17 allocation for the City of New York was around $531 million. The proposal from the City DOE was to allocate about $7.5 million to Staten Island Public Schools, which represents only 1.42% of the funding, despite the population that Staten Island represents now, schools with 60,000 students, is 6%. It's sort of the same fight we have sometimes with the city, with the hospitals funding, and we're trying to get our fair share in terms of making it proportional to the population. Our students in District 31 have some of the highest percentages of students with individual education plans. It's actually roughly 25%. So my question really is, can you revisit this and see how maybe we can increase the funding for Staten Island and try to get closer to what the population level would be?
Well, I'm going to but I'm also going to preface it with just a little bit. We have looked, I spent a lot of time in Staten Island, and we have looked at Staten Island from the lenses of some of the specific concerns. So we've increased SAPIS workers out in Staten Island due to some of the specific issues. One of the other things that Staten Island is really becoming a trendsetter for, and I thank the borough president for that, is your work with your universities is particularly meaningful. Your 3 universities out there are working extensively in our high schools out there. And also you have a tremendous amount of learning partner schools out there, which also increase funding through different sources. So it may not be all foundation money or categorical money, but there is a lot of money going in through other streams, but I'll let...
Hi, the C4E money.
Could you just, for the record, reintroduce yourself, the gentleman?
Oh, sure, I'm sorry. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Raymond Orlando. I'm the Chief Financial Officer of the New York City Department of Education, and delighted to be here. Glad it's not snowing. The C4E money you've been asking about, there are requirements on how it gets spent. When we look to distribute it across the system, sometimes Staten Island doesn't appear to get its fair share because the level of need based on the requirements that the funding comes with are greater in other areas of the city. So that limits our ability to super use it flexibly, I guess. We'll of course be happy to continue to look at it and work with you on that for sure.
And if you could, I guess maybe share some of the criteria or that you're looking at, or that
Sure,
what the numbers
sure,
are,
I'd be happy
statistics,
to.
that would be really helpful.
Sure, we'd be happy to.
Because that's one of the main issues that our CEC has brought up to us, and we just had a legislative breakfast with them last week in the Staten Island PTA. It's one of the biggest issues. The other one was also school safety. They've probably spoken to you directly. I know you've visited Staten Island a few times and met with them. But regarding having a school safety officer in at least every elementary school, having 2 in each, that's one of the requests that they've put in, as well as locking school doors during the workday. Does the city have a position on either of those?
Well, we really work much more independently based on individual school incidents. So there's obviously some schools that have more incidents than others, but again, I'm happy to discuss individual things on Staten Island. The one thing I have to say is that we've also encouraged Staten Island in particular, but other places, where they can apply for grants that will give them money above and beyond what they would get from us, because for some things they're really eligible for. I'm working with 2 of your schools right now specifically, but I'm happy to have a meeting just on Staten Island issues because I really go out there a lot.
That would be great. I will follow up on that.
Okay, thank you.
Last year I brought up the issue of penmanship and cursive.
Yes.
And I've heard, actually, that you have become very supportive, or have always been supportive of penmanship and bringing up cursive. I think it's something really important that our students should be learning. How do they sign a bank check? How do they have their own signature, in the world? I mean, they need that in the when they enter career force, they open up a bank account, et cetera. I've heard that you did write a letter, or that you were expressing that you would like to see this happen now.
There's no such thing, I'd like to see it happen. It has to happen.
It has to happen, okay,
Let me
that's
be
even
very
better.
clear. When I went to a town hall meeting, I guess a year and a half ago, parents brought up that they would like to see cursive back in schools. And I spent a lot of years in parochial schools, so I have the Palmer method down pat. And I don't know why it went out of favor, but I do understand that people felt there were other things that they thought were more important. But the reality is, if you look, the first thing you look at, if you look at a child's handwriting, and they're inventing their own scripts, which is what they are, they're going cursive, then it doesn't look right, and I worry that they won't be able to sign their pension checks at some point. So this year, in September, we put out a curriculum for how to teach cursive writing in all our third grades in New York City. So it behooves parents in different schools to ensure that this is happening, but the directive is, this has to happen.
Yeah.
So, but it's up to the principal then to decide if they implement it.
Well, it's up to principals with strong urging from their superintendents, who are getting strong urgings from me. And when I go to schools, I look for the cursive writing starting in third grade.
I really appreciate you doing that, and I look forward to making sure that my schools are all doing it.
It's